Hi guys, this is Leo here from Dean Winchester. So we got another hybrid supernatural episode to talk about today that combines the Monsters of the Week and the mythology formats in one. As you all know, those are my favorite type of episodes. Just kidding, I actually hate those kind of episodes and prefer the classic monster hunts. Anyway, in Peace of Mind, the boys are separated yet again one of my favorite things of course, as they go on separate pursuits. In this case, Sam goes with Cass to investigate a strange murder where a guy's head basically explodes out of nowhere, only to find out that the whole town he's in is some weird looking artifact from the 60s. I thought it was time travel from a promo before. Turned out to be something else entirely, definitely looked like that in a promo. Meanwhile, Dean takes Jack on a road trip to see Soul Doctor Donatello to diagnose the loss of his soul issue. So this video will be divided into two parts. First part, I'll talk about the Monsters of the Week half of the episode. In the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about the mythology half with Jack and all of that. So first of all, the monster half of the episode, the main story of the episode is a whole town where everything seems weird to the outsiders but it's perfect from the inside. They don't want to change anything, they notice outsiders right away. The whole suburban setting was those weird conspiracy-like circumstances. Reminded me of an episode from my other favorite show, X-Files, an episode called Arcadia, where Mulder and Scully go to investigate a series of strange murders yet again. Where the town seems almost perfect to the people living in it, but you notice it's weird from the outside. And they stand out once you get there. They play a married couple in that episode. It's pretty hilarious actually. I recommend everyone to watch the whole show if you haven't yet. X-Files, great show, best show ever in my opinion. Supernatural is actually following in its footsteps, and Supernatural borrows a lot of storylines from it. In this case, from the Arcadia episode, very similar storyline here to the one we saw in Peace of Mind. Another similarity was X-Files in this episode. The method of which the monster kills his victims, the whole sound waves kind of thing, he shoots at them and their brain explodes. This reminded me of another X-Files episode where basically it's about this secret government project testing on humans pretty much, where they have this device from Defense Department going off and sounding those, very high frequency sound waves that makes people's head explode, but they can avoid it temporarily if they drive really fast. And that's the whole premise of the episode. It's really like disturbing kind of thing, thinking of what the government does in real life, what this episode did back in the day, of the whole conspiracies and the bad things government does in secret and they hide it from the public. So the element that reminded me of that was, like I said, the method which the monster used to kill his victim, basically using sound waves to explode their heads. Again, very similar to the X-Files episode. So two X-Files episode similarities in one Supernatural episode, which I really don't mind. I just couldn't help but remember that it's very similar to the X-Files. No comparison between Peace of Mind episode, last night's episode, and X-Files episodes, because they're much better. The X-Files, just getting it out there right now. But it's all subjective, of course. Anyway, back to that Peace of Mind episode. We get some funny scenes in this town, like Castiel's funny references, like trying to sound cool, like remembering catchphrases from older times, using it and stuff. We get Sam's new look with his ponytail, looks really silly, and the clothes looks like a nerdy dad kind of look, very silly look. And the whole brainwashing things that, the monster brainwashed him and made him part of the town, reminded me of a Supernatural episode this time, the Becky episode in season 7, when Becky did a spell on Sam to make him love her, pretty much, and he ended up not realizing what's going on because obviously he's still brainwashed. Very similar to that, he married Becky. In this case, he married this strange woman he doesn't even know. He replaced her husband pretty much, that's all he did. Didn't officially marry her. But yeah, this really reminded me of the Becky episode, another silly element of this episode. Basically, most of the episodes were comedy, lightheartedness. And then you had the half with Jack, which is a mythology half, was mostly dark, had some humor with Dean and stuff. But Dean barely had an input in this episode, which is really crazy. You're basically giving Jack more screen time, more stories than Sam and Dean at this point. That's what I really don't like. So the show should focus on the boys, should get back on the boys. I keep saying that in every single video I make. I'm not gonna stop saying it until they fix the show, because right now it's a big mess with all 5, 6, 7 other characters that are supposed to be side characters apparently are promoted to main characters alongside the boys now. And that whole mess is just, it's not going anywhere, it's all over the place, you know? So I hope at least by next season they fix that problem instead of making it worse. Stop separating the boys, stop shoving in like 10 other characters to take the focus off them, please. Alright, moving on to the second part of the episode, the mythology half, because it's a hybrid episode like I said. So this half deals with the whole Jack's losing his soul issue since he killed Michael in the episode before. Did he use all his soul? Did he use most of it, some of it? It's not exactly clear. Does he have a soul now? He doesn't. So in this case, Dean takes him to Donatello, who's of course an expert on losing his soul because he lost his soul to Amara back in season 11. Losing your soul does not necessarily mean you're evil, just like when Sam lost his soul. It just means you pretty much don't have moral agency, I would put it this way, or conscience, which means you can logically know that something can be right or wrong, at least by looking at the rules of society, but you can't really feel anything about it. So that's what the absence of soul is symbolic of, losing your conscience, pretty much. So Dean takes Jack on a road trip to save Donatello. He leaves him with Donatello alone to have, a lone talk together. Donatello tries to find out through Jack, like, how do you feel? So this is how I feel when I don't have my soul, Donatello tells him. And Jack is not exactly clear about how he feels, where he doesn't understand how it feels to not have a soul, so he struggles to explain it. He tells him, I do not feel nothing, but at the same time, it could just be me not knowing what nothing feels. It's a whole convoluted concept of philosophy going on here, where Jack doesn't even know how to feel a certain thing, so he cannot express it properly. Donatello is not sure either, although I think he's leaning towards Jack doesn't have a soul, even though he doesn't outright say it to him or to Dean later. So when Dean asks him after Jack gets out, Donatello is not exactly sure what to tell him. He's like, oh, you never know what goes on in his head, But before Jack leaves Donatello and goes outside with him to talk to Dean, he tells him he's worried about making Sam and Dean worried, so he just wanna do what Sam and Dean would in this case. As we all know, especially Dean, he hides his emotions all the time and just puts on a smile and jokes and stuff and goes on hunting trips to forget his pain and all of that. So Jack apparently learned that already, and he gives Dean a big smile, big silly smile and Impala after he gets out of Donatello's house. And Dean is not obviously buying it because he's the expert in hiding his feelings, so he continues to be worried. He doesn't know exactly if Jack has a soul or not. Which brings us to the ending of the episode, the big shock ending at the end, when Jack murders a snake he took from the demigod from the episode before, and he claims that he's helping the snake go to heaven with his, caretaker he loved. Snake is not feeling so well or whatever. So he suddenly out of nowhere just burns a snake, just kills a snake, and apparently is out to send him to heaven. As we all know, that's not gonna happen because, first of all, his caretaker was a monster. Monsters go to purgatory, regardless if he's a demigod or not. He's half monster at least. He's gonna go straight to purgatory. It didn't exactly tell us where animals would go when they die. Animals are naturally innocent, so most likely all of them would go to heaven if they die. Especially what we do to them in the real world, we're horrible to animals. So that's why I'm vegan, in case you didn't know. I don't consume any animal products, I don't wear animal skin or do any of that stuff. Because, I don't want to contribute to animal suffering, exploitation, and death. So even if Jack wanted to send a snake to heaven to meet his dad or whatever, his dad wouldn't be here because his dad was horrible, right? So the snake might have gone to heaven, but his caretaker is not in heaven, which made no sense for Jack to kill him for that reason. Snake should have lived his life, his full life, free in the wild, not trapped in stupid little enclosures they put him in. And Jack pretty much just ended his life early, that's all he did. And that's a big sign of him having no soul. Because even in real life, a typical sign of a psychopath is they start killing animals early on when they're kids, torturing and killing animals. That's like a psychological big red flag for psychos. And I believe it's very significant that he had Jack do that, kill the snake. Even though if he claims it's for the good, the whole mood, vibe of the scene, the music, and the way he killed the snake, the way Cass looks at him from outside the door, it all implies to me that they actually mean for us to think that is a sign of Jack going evil. That's why I titled my video about that, Jack turned evil and kills a snake, because who else would do that? Just kills an innocent animal just out of nowhere, where it's not self-defense or anything. Well, an evil person would. So Jack might not show a full-on evil side to him now. this was a big step in the ending of him turning evil or having no soul, and maybe leading towards his Lucifer kind of like hating humans side, where he hates everyone, wants to kill everyone. Not necessarily, because Lucifer is not black and white evil, so I'm not saying Lucifer is full on evil, so Jack will be evil. I'm just saying part of him just hating humans would appear evil to humans. So that's what Jack seems to be doing right now, especially with him killing the snake at the end of the episode. So obviously we have a few episodes left to find that out, but I'm calling it right now. Jack lost his soul, and he's not gonna be like a pretty much harmless person like Donatello or Sam even without his soul. Sam was a little bit vicious when he had no soul, but he wasn't outright evil. He did some questionable things, but you couldn't say like he was full on evil. Jack seems to be going a very dark route in this case. He might end up having the worst case of soulless person we've ever seen on the show. So I'm calling it right now, and we can see what happens for the rest of the season. And obviously, anything can happen with Supernatural. I'm not saying anything 100%, but that's my prediction right now. Jack is gonna go evil if he's not already. This is just a big sign of that we've seen in last night's episode. The other small part of the ending we got to see Sam's guilt over the death of Apocalypse World Hunters, because he felt responsible for them. Of course, he was a leader for them for a while, for most of the season. And, he felt like he failed them pretty much. He couldn't save them and all of that. Honestly, in my opinion, I didn't care for that part at all, because I was happy they were killed off, because like a lot of fans, I really did not like them. Again, there was just a crowd of faceless people no one cares about, just taking focus of the boys, crowding the bunker, and, all of that. I don't even like the other characters who are called main characters on the show who takes the focus of the boys, because they ruin the dynamic of the show, let alone other like nameless, faceless characters just crowding the bunker and taking focus and time of the boys. So I'm glad Michael killed him off. Great job, Michael. And yeah, Sam's guilt should be good now. Hopefully we never hear about them again, because I don't care about them at all. Anyway, this was my thoughts on the episode, guys, and especially the ending was a shock thing Jack did. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Do you agree with my thoughts? Did Jack really lose his soul? Do you actually like the hybrid episodes where, there's a Monster of the Week and a Mythology episode, or you like just either or? Let me know down below what you think. Subscribe for more awesome Supernatural content. Till next time, as always, no chick flick moments.
Awesome. That's awesome.
You're awesome.